moving their hands around, and they're trying to sensitize me to different decals and tactics. They attack you mentally. It's designed to drain you down and make you exhausted, and it's very effective at that.
When you say sensitize you, how do you feel they're trying to sensitize you?
Well, I'm followed on foot when I go into public places to do my errands. They will jiggle their change in their pockets or their car keys, and a lot of coughing, so that you get. And then, along with doing these noises, they'll do other things that TIs become accustomed to let the TI know that they are involved in the harassing. They are a perpetrator. And they'll do this to you constantly, day in, day out.
Well, when they follow you, like in stores, and they, make this noise, they rattle their keys, or they, jiggle coins to let you know that they're there, or they cough, are these the same people, or are you seeing different people all the time? Because I have read that many gang stalkers are in large groups, so they can rotate shifts, and that's what makes it so easy for them to do a 24/7 surveillance of their victim.
Sometimes there are regular people that I recognize. A lot of them I recognize as being city workers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a homeowner and the property, and I make it to the courthouse and the city hall at different times, so I have a pretty good memory for faces, and I recognize some of these people as policemen out of uniform, plainclothes, and various city employees.
So you do feel the police are involved, and if you called them, you don't think they would help you?
Oh, no, I have called them. One time I was receiving extreme noise harassment with vehicles where their exhaust was, set up to be extremely loud, probably taking part of the manifold off or something. It's easy to do it. Sometimes they seem to be driving with the brake on, so it sounds like the vehicle is under a heavy load. And I called the police department, the main, wasn't assigned to any particular officer, and they said that's just regular noise. And the guy was shouting at me, very adamant. That's just normal noise. And he had no way of knowing that.
Did they take a report? Did they ever try to label you with a mental illness? Many victims, almost all victims, when the police are called, immediately they try to label them, because this is a typical label to apply to organized stalking victims to discredit them. And most of the time it is not a true label, of course, but victims still get hit with that label.
Yeah, I've never filed an official report with the police. I know of a person who has complained. I know them personally. They also live in Duluth. And just like you said, they tried to get them to do some testing for mental illness. And, so they're obviously being railroaded. The police are quite obviously instructed to treat this in a certain manner that's biased.
So you do feel these people were being railroaded?
Oh,
to try to press them into something that's really not there?
No doubt in my mind.
Okay. Have you ever suffered any physical assault or home invasion?
Yes. They've been in my house many times. My electrical appliances, items that I need, little electric heaters, hot plates, VCRs, radio, they're constantly breaking or doing something to reduce the effectiveness of your equipment. Constantly breaking. Power saws, especially things that you need to live. It's sadistic harassment.
Okay. Have they ever stolen anything?
Well, funny. They have taken something. I make jewelry, and they have taken a file that I use quite regularly, a little round needle file, And they took it from one location, and they brought it back at another shop that I set up. So I don't know that they've stolen anything without returning it, but I suspect that they have with some tools. I don't know for sure, but they seemed like they were being downgraded, like they were being replaced for...
with inferior items.
Yes.
Have you... Well, actually, when they do that, you're sort of being... It's like gaslighting. You've been gaslit. Do they move things around your apartment, too?
Yes. Furniture, some different items, and it's plainly obvious. You know, if it's something that's a little dusty, you know, you can see where it's obviously been moved a little bit. I don't know if they're moving it to search. I don't think they are. I think it's just gaslighting.
Okay. Have they damaged clothing as well?
On a couple occasions, I washed my clothing at the laundromat, and on some occasions, I think they popped the dryer open and cut some of my inexpensive clothes with a scissors, cut some holes in some T-shirts. It was noticeable.
They're very big on holes. I actually found a coat that my parents had given me 20 years ago, and it's not that I'm wearing it anymore, but I was fond of it because both my parents are deceased, and they knew that, and they took the coat and they cut like 200 holes in it. And it's hanging in my closet, and I'm going to take a picture of it and get it to Eleanor White for her website. The damage that these people can do is unbelievable. I really lost a lot of clothing, and some of my clothing was very good clothing, and they cut holes in a lot of things. Sometimes I try to repair the items, and sometimes I just can't. Do you ever repair them, or do you end up throwing them away?
Well, I try to make do. I'm on a tight budget. You know, without appearing like a complete bum in public, you know, I wear what is passable, I guess.
Well, that's as with many victims. They really push you to a lower level where you're actually barely existing. And I know some days I walk out and I must look like that too, because my clothes, they really have beat them up badly. And I was a girl who was raised to, you know, if you want something, you go earn it and you hang on to it because that may not come again. You know, my parents were born in the 20s, so I learned to have respect for the things that I purchased and to hang on to them and not to continue to buy new things. And as you're getting run down with gang stalking, as you well know, because they do attack your livelihood, it's difficult to be able to buy new clothes. And even if you did, what would happen to those is they would be destroyed. And speaking of livelihood, how has this affected your ability to keep a job?
They will not let me have a job. Anytime I work in the jewelry field and the pawnbroking field, and very good at my job. I've been self-employed. I've had businesses of my own. And whenever I'm in a public setting, sales or whatever, they bombard the place with their people, and they even they get my employer involved in the harassment, to where, you know, you're gaslighted to the point where you finally throw in the towel and quit.
How are you surviving then?
I'm self-employed. I make jewelry and I sell it online, but it's surviving is a good word. That's about it.
Well, at the end of the interview, why don't you go ahead and share your website with the listeners so that we can take a look at your jewelry?
Well, I sell on eBay mainly, and I would rather not. I try to keep that separate from this AI experience.
Okay. All right. The electromagnetic weaponry harassment, I know you said that at night you're sleep deprived, and they speed up your brain frequency.
Yes. And when they're doing that, you know, in the morning I recall I've had really crisp, vivid dreams, and not normal dreams. You know, these were influenced dreams. They were not my normal garden variety dreams. And they might have a detail in the dream where all of a sudden I'll see that item. I will have no particular reason to dream about, say, green